a call to fire me from our First Lady, Melania Trump, saying I should be fired because of a joke I made, again, 5 nights ago.
So Jimmy Kimmel just found himself in the crosshairs of the First Lady after making a joke about Trump's age, and Melania is demanding he be fired. This is exactly the kind of authoritarian overreach we need to call out. We're breaking down his response and why this matters for free speech.
You know how sometimes you wake up in the morning and the First Lady puts out a statement demanding you be fired from your job? We've all been there, right? You've been there, right, Guillermo?
This is completely unprecedented. No previous First Lady has ever publicly demanded a comedian be fired for a joke. Even during peak tensions with Saturday Night Live or late-night hosts, previous administrations understood the separation between government and entertainment. This crosses a serious line.
It was a pretend roast. I said, our First Lady Melania is here. Look at her, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow, which obviously was a joke about their age difference and the look of joy we see on her face every time they're together.
The actual age gap is 17 years. Trump is 78. Melania is 61. Age difference jokes are comedy 101, especially at roasts. Don Rickles built a career on this exact type of humor. The idea that this constitutes violent rhetoric is absurd.
It was a very light roast joke about the fact that he's almost 80 and she's younger than I am. It was not, by any stretch of the definition, a call to assassination, and they know that.
Trump is 78, Melania is 61. These are just facts. The Trump team is deliberately weaponizing this joke to deflect from real issues while crying victim. It's classic authoritarian playbook. Attack the messenger when you can't defend the message.
I do, and I think a great place to start to dial that back would be to have a conversation with your husband about it, because, by the way, I also should point out, Donald Trump is allowed to say whatever he wants to say, as are you, and as am I, as are all of us, because under the First Amendment, we have, as Americans, a right to free speech.
Trump called for journalists to be jailed, suggested the death penalty for protesters, and repeatedly threatened violence against political opponents. The hypocrisy here is staggering. They want to silence critics while claiming their own inflammatory rhetoric is just locker room talk.
If you want us to believe that a joke I made 3 days before this dinner had any effect on anything that happened, well, then maybe someone should look into this psychic lady, too.
The timeline completely destroys their narrative. The joke aired Thursday, the incident happened Saturday. Unless they're claiming comedians have psychic powers to predict unrelated events, their whole argument falls apart. It's manufactured outrage at its most transparent.
Brian Stelter of CNN noted, incorrectly I think, that no one from the White House was specifically calling for my head. This is this morning. I guess the First Lady doesn't count.
CNN is downplaying this, but when the First Lady officially demands someone be fired, that's government pressure on private media. It doesn't matter if it's not legally binding. The chilling effect is real. This is exactly how authoritarian creep begins.
But I have to say, this really is a shame, because there was a time not so long ago, back in 2010, when, believe it or not, we sent our man Yaya to a Samsung promotional event in New York where we learned that Donald Trump was a very big fan of mine.
This perfectly captures Trump's transactional relationship with media. He loved comedians when they flattered him, now demands they be silenced for criticism. It's not about principles or standards. It's purely about whether you praise or challenge his ego.
Anyway, what happened on Saturday at an event supporting the First Amendment, by the way, it was so crazy to watch. After the gunman was captured, there were so many well-known people in a room together, and there were cameras on everyone at all times. All the journalists, everybody grabbed their phones, immediately went into reporter mode.
The bitter irony is using an attack at a First Amendment event to justify silencing critics. Plus, watching journalists immediately shift into reporter mode during an active threat shows their professionalism. The exact people Trump constantly attacks as fake news.
The president, one thing about Donald Trump, there's nothing he can't turn into a real estate opportunity. He immediately turned this into an argument in favor of his ballroom. He wrote, "This event would never have happened with the militarily top secret ballroom currently under construction at the White House." Right. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I'm afraid that top secret ballroom is no longer top secret.
Classic Trump, turning a security threat into a real estate pitch. and casually revealing top-secret information on social media while claiming to care about security. The man can't help but contradict himself in the same sentence.
I don't believe for 1 second that the reason he decided to build this ballroom is for security. But this was a pretty good argument for building. I might be pro-ballroom now, weirdly, after this.
This shows real intellectual honesty, acknowledging when your opponent makes a valid point, even while criticizing them overall. It's the kind of nuanced thinking that's disappeared from political discourse. Good arguments should be recognized regardless of the source.
Less than 24 hours after calling on Americans to resolve our differences and praising the warmth he shared with the press on Saturday night, Trump sat for an interview / future $80 billion lawsuit with Norah O'Donnell of 60 Minutes, where he was asked about this manifesto his would-be attacker wrote.
Less than 24 hours from unity back to lawsuits and attacks. The 60 million reference is about Trump's ongoing legal battles. He's currently facing multiple defamation suits. His Saturday night warmth was pure performance art.
No, an interview isn't going great when you have to say, I'm not a rapist and I'm not a pedophile.
When a politician has to explicitly deny being a rapist or pedophile during an interview, that's not normal damage control. That's a complete PR disaster. Those aren't accusations you address unless the interview has gone catastrophically wrong.